Hello, my name is Brianna Sinclair, and this is my 31st week on HRT. If you like my content, please like, comment, subscribe. I would love to hear your comments and answer your questions if you have any. If there's something specific that you would like to see, please comment that down below, and I will do my best to try and provide that content for you. So like I was saying, this is my 31st week on HRT. Quick measurements update. My hips are at 34.5, my bust is 35.5, and my waist is 25 even still. So there's still no change. This makes the third week without any change, which is fine. And I still think it's just a little bit too soon to kind of like start gauging that there's a lot of change, but I do think that like my changes come in like spurts. Gosh, I have like hair in front of my face and I don't like it. There we go. I think I got it. Okay. My emotional state. My emotions are pretty stable. For the most part, I am finding like little things here and there. I feel like I'm a little bit more empathetic towards other things, which honestly is a pretty good thing. Having empathy and kind of like thinking about how things affect like other people does kind of like, I feel like it helps the world, and honestly, instead of like being like super cold all the time, it kind of like no, I wouldn't like that because this is how it would affect other things, and it just kind of broadens the scope upon which I look at things sometimes. Hair reduction and growth. Still no change between last week and this week. I have noticed my facial hair, I think, is growing a little slower, but I'm not 100% sure for what reason. And I think that's only an observation that I'm getting. It might not be 100% solidified yet. And that could be just because I changed my diet recently. So that could change. And that might be why. Maybe it's got like, what I changed it to has like a lower biotin content. And that doesn't propagate as like hair growth. Breast growth. So I haven't noticed any real growth. There are a couple changes. So initially I've had this disc kind of in there, and I still have that disc, but it seems like my breasts are getting a little bit squishier and more fluidy, if that makes sense. They're not as solid and firm anymore, which is nice. I don't know what that means at all. To be honest with you, I don't really know what that means. It's just something I'm kind of noticing. Let's see. And the disc is really has been around like maybe an inch and a half, inch and 3/4 in diameter. But everything else, the sponginess is kind of like around it. Kind of, it's like, I feel like it's underneath and like adjacent to it in all directions. Whereas the disc kind of is just there, but it is definitely getting a bit more flexible. So I feel like the development is progressing. I'm not 100% sure where growth falls into that. And I don't know if that means that they're done growing, or they're kind of just settling it and developing, or what that fully means. But like I said, I'm not expecting too much because my family's not like really well developed here, like genetically. But that's why I like expect them to stop growing at any moment, to be honest with you. So if this is as big as they get, this is as big as they get. It's doesn't hurt me any, because I know that they're there, and honestly, them just being there helps me feel a lot more euphoric in many ways. Like, sure, they do create a couple problems. Like, I can't wear swim trunks anymore, so if I want to go swimming, I have to wear some form of top. And just basic things like that. I don't really feel comfortable changing with like the other boys, so I just kind of change on my own, like just away from everyone, because I'm in this kind of in-between stage where I don't fit in with the males and I don't feel like I would be accepted with the females, so I just kind of like do my own thing, and I feel like that's the most respectful thing and the safest thing, because the women, I feel like, would look at me like I'm not supposed to be there, and the men, I feel like I would be put in danger, because it would only take really one of them to have a huge issue with it, and then it becomes a problem. And it doesn't matter what happens, like, I don't want any bodily harm to come to me just because, like, I'm changing to go to work instead, like, after running a couple miles and I'm sweaty, and so I'm trying to change out of my clothes. I would just rather just play it safe. I feel like it's just easier on everyone that way, unfortunately. Because yes, I may be attracted to girls, and I may be attracted to women. I'm also, like, don't care who my partner is. I don't care if my partner is a boy. I really don't. It just all depends on the person and how they treat me and our chemistry. So I just feel like the boys aren't going to care, because, except for, like, the people that have a problem with me being transgender, they're really going to care. And then the women are just going to look at me as, like, I'm some kind of, like, boy who just wants to peep in on the girls. And honestly, if I changed in, like, the female locker room, I would probably just face a corner and just change and then run out, because I don't want to be labeled as being disrespectful or a pervert, and I don't want, like, our community to be labeled as that, because that's not what we are. We just want to fit in. We just want to live our lives as the gender we were meant to be. Not the gender we were assigned, the gender we were meant to be. And that's how I view it. I know that's probably wrong, and that's probably, like, very conservative and not forward thinking. It's very much kind of what's going on, I guess, in Congress, so it can be viewed as weak in many ways, and I get that. I'm just giving a very rare opportunity to do it in my workplace, and with it already being hard as it is, I don't need to make it harder for the future generations to transition as well. Because there are going to be transgender people. We're not going away anytime soon. There's been transgender people for thousands of years. And I know that sounds crazy, because they're like, how did you transition thousands of years ago? How would you get SRS? It's like, it wasn't really like that. Like, other cultures acknowledge that, like, there were some people that weren't female, but they weren't men. And so they fell into this in-betweenist category. Between the two sexes. And that's kind of like where it falls. It's like this in-betweenist category. That's kind of where I feel like I am right now, because I am mostly male. Well, I am a male, but like I do exhibit like female characteristics, and that's what I think is kind of hard, because I don't know like what the issue with transgender people is. A lot of people think it has something to do with like, especially in my case, like giving away like privilege, like male privilege or something like that. Like, why would you willingly go through something that like takes away like opportunities and stuff? Because I do lose opportunities. Even in my career, we're separated into certain places by gender. I lose a great many of opportunities. I can no longer be in certain places or go to certain places because they're male only. Once my gender markers are changed, that'll be true. Like I could go to a place in Florida. I could go to a couple places in Georgia where they're male only. And then there are some other places where it's like mixed, but there's no female only like workspaces, which is fine. I just feel like I'm gonna be the only one. I feel like I'm just gonna get sent somewhere. I'm gonna be the only one. Because no one else is gonna understand. There's gonna be no girl for me to like talk to, because I do get along with girls a lot easier. Boys, I feel like most boys just kind of look at me as like I'm some kind of sexual object, and that's what I'm doing this for, is to be that object, and that's not the case at all. I want to feel beautiful. And making these videos kind of helps me see Brianna. It helps me see her because whenever I wake up, I'm very much not Brianna. I don't have my makeup, I don't have my hair. And it's just very dysphoric to kind of see that. Most of the time I just kind of look in the mirror and just shock, as like, this is what I am. And that's very troubling to me, to be honest with you, because most people I don't think would think that of me. If they were in my shoes, they'd probably think I'm handsome, but I don't think I'm handsome at all. I've never really looked at myself like in most positive lights, because I've never been the best at anything. I've been always perfectly average in whatever group I'm in. I was usually smarter in high school, but I was never the fastest or the strongest. I was always average. I wrestled in high school and was high JV. I did track and cross country and was high JV. I was good at Raider team, I admit. I was good there. Because I was smart. I could tie knots. I could do an obstacle course. I was fit. And at the time I wanted to go in the military. I wanted to join so bad. Because I was just this little boy who wanted to be able to defend themselves, and I was like, you know what would be really cool? It would teach me to defend myself and give me the tools to do such. And that would be becoming a SEAL. I remember walking into the recruiter's office and being like, I want to be a SEAL so bad. I want to do it. And he looked at me and was like, you don't have a whole lot of muscle mass, you don't have a lot of fat. I was like, I know, I don't have a whole lot of muscle. So I imagine I'm going to struggle a little bit. And he goes, no, you don't have a whole lot of muscle. So that means you probably will do okay. You'll probably do really well, actually, because the muscle's heavier in the water. You'll probably do really well. And that surprised me, to be honest with you. I was no Chris Kyle. I was no behemoth of muscle. I was, as you see me now, probably a little bit more built, but I'm kind of losing my muscles. I got denied because of my eyesight. They said my eyesight was just too bad. I left the examination room and sat down in a chair, and I was just in shock. I never wanted something so bad other than the relationship I've got with my wife, and it was all taken away from me. Quick, clean. Hey, Fendi. I couldn't even rebuttal against it because it was a fact. And that kind of put me on the path I am now. And as you know, I eventually came out as transgender, and once that happened, I got on HRT and I'm here now. But I was never really masculine to begin with. I never wanted to ask a girl out. I always wanted to be asked out. I didn't get it. Girls scared me. Because it's like, sure, the worst they could say is no if you ever ask them out. It's like, no, the worst thing they could say is whatever comes out of their mouth. Because girls can be brutal. No is not the worst thing they could say. And that's how I viewed it, because even from a young age I knew that. There are sometimes, sure, the worst they can say is no. Like if you go try and get a job or something like that, and they're like, yeah, we're just not looking for that. Like, that's better than no. Had they said no, they're like, no. Nope. Not a chance. Like, oh, that sucks. But it'd be what it be. I just... Hey, buddy. I finally came out as transgender. And I've never been so happy. I'm still average, but I'm happier being that average than I would be otherwise, because I'm not in competition with anyone. I'm literally in competition with myself only. This is something only I can do. And I don't know if that's part of it, really. Honestly, it just feels good to kind of like be the girl I was meant to be. It's okay to be her, to let Brianna out. It's okay. My fat redistribution, I feel like, is solely localized to like my face, and because that's the only place I really see the changes. That and probably like my breast tissue. I feel like that's why they're getting a little squishier and like softer. I feel like that's kind of where like my body's starting to deposit the fat. noticed anything like in my thighs or like my buttocks yet. Or my waist. Hey, buddy. Finny wants to come and say hi, everyone. You threw me off. My sex drive. I feel like in my sex drive, since it's still very much the same. I can perform as well as I could pre-HRT, with the exception of it takes me longer because it's more emotionally based for me now. I'm starting to feel things that like I would enjoy. I guess if that makes sense, like pre-HRT, things that I would do that I would enjoy, like holding hands, hugging, kissing, just rubbing like the back, or just like holding. I'm starting to find those like kind of enjoyable, because it's like peaceful almost. It's peaceful and it's like safe. I never really got that like growing up, so I didn't really know like what that meant. I was always like had to be the more masculine of the two, and it's never what I wanted. Being feminine, being submissive, a bit of the time was kind of what I wanted. I wanted to be able to like have equal roles, honestly. I wanted my equal, not my superior or my like inferior. I wanted my equal. And with my wife, I felt that's what I had. Me being tired, that is still a thing. But I think I'm getting used to it, honestly. Because this is like my second week on my new regimen. And I'm still pretty good. I can sleep more if I want to, or I can wake up and be fine. It just kind of all depends. And then my muscle development, I feel like I am clearly losing my muscle. Yeah, I feel like I'm really losing my muscle. I have no biceps. But with me losing my muscle, all that means is I have to work smarter, not harder. So if I'm gonna lift something heavy, I need to use my mechanical advantage and my brain a lot more than just brute force, which is fine. My voice therapy, I'm still working on it. I forgot my water today while I was at work, so I ended up getting an energy drink. So I'm kind of upset about that, because I was like, dang, I need something to drink because I talk a lot, so I figured something was better than nothing. So I imagine my voice is a little deeper in this video, but I've been practicing. I downloaded this app where it kind of tracks like my pitch and stuff like that, and this week was the first time it gave me like a truly mostly feminine reading, and I was really happy about it. I was like, I can do it. Don't brush actually can't move any. Like, I can do it. I'm getting there. I'm making progress. Where if I just talk into it, I get like 99% masculine. And because I demonstrated it for a friend today, just talking, and honestly, it almost made me cry, because I was like, oh no. I'd never done it with like my normal voice before. And I kind of hoped I'd get like a mostly masculine, or somewhat androgynous thing, like reading. But 99% masculine was kind of hurtful. I was pretty sad about it. After my 9-month point, I can schedule my surgeries. And the order I wanted my surgeries was FFS, BBL, breast augmentation, and then SRS if I ever deemed it necessary, because SRS to me is last. Let me start from the beginning. I wanted FFS first because I would look more feminine. I have boobs, I have breasts. They're small, but they're there. And I feel like that's all I need, because there are girls that do have small breasts. And I can look feminine, even with a somewhat masculine haircut, because I'm still growing out my hair. And I won't be putting myself in danger. I can do the same thing with the BBL. I can kind of have a girlish face and a girlish figure, and not be in a super dangerous environment, because I do sound masculine. This would all change if I didn't sound masculine, but due to the fact that it's obvious that I'm transgender right now, I have to be careful. I rarely go out. Whenever I do, I minimize the time I'm out, because I do have to go shopping. And when I do, it's quick ins and outs. I know the stores I go to, they're the same stores, they never change their stuff. So I know where everything's at. I don't linger in any one place too long, because I don't trust the people around me to not do anything, or to follow me back to my car, and to mean me bodily harm. But that's the reason for FFS and BBL. Breast augmentation is last, because it's the one that it's the most affirming, first off, which is kind of the contrary evidence, contrary reasoning to why I would want it last. But it's also the most obvious one. So whenever people see me, they see like, yay, I have boobs, like, that are very prominent and not just kind of like tucked away under a shirt. And that's okay. And the reasoning is because, one, it'll give my breasts more time to develop, and two, it'll give me more time to practice my voice. And that's the reason. SRS, I do not want yet. I have thought about it. It has crossed my mind. But I don't need it. It wouldn't make me, really wouldn't make me feel better. I don't look down at like my genitals and be like, and in disgust. I look down and be like, oh, that's there. Yay. Sometimes, like, sure. Like, would I like to have it? Yeah, it would make certain outfits a lot easier to wear. I wouldn't have to wear a tucker or anything like that. could literally put on normal underwear and just go out in my outfit and be fine. I wouldn't have to worry about tucking or having some random bulge or the pain that's there. I wouldn't have to worry about that. As I do now, I tuck every day almost. I have to grab my testicles and force them back into the canal where they were before they dropped. And then I have to grab my member and bend it around, and the tucker keeps all that in place. It keeps my testicles up into my pelvic region and my member below me. That's how tucking works. If I had SRS, I would never have to do that again. Honestly, I feel like I would only ever get SRS if I ended up with a boy, because I could have like penetrative sex, but at the same time I can still kind of have penetrative sex now. It's not the same, but it's there. But we're getting off topic. It's not that it's making me uncomfortable, it's just that SRS doesn't really linger too much on my mind. Sure, in like other relationship, I'm submissive and stuff like that, which kind of like is expected, that I do get SRS so I can be even more submissive. But I don't mind having the genitals I have now. I just don't, and I don't think that that's a problem really. I know like the big thing right now is like, if I haven't had SRS, like that still kind of makes me functional, and functional and dangerous to women. And I honestly can't get aroused unless I'm emotionally ready for it, if that makes sense. So I can perform if I'm emotionally ready. What I mean when I talk about my sex drive and stuff like that is like, if I'm emotionally ready consistently, like I was pre-HRT, I could perform just as well. That is not the case. I need that emotional connection. So if I have that emotional connection with somebody, sure, I could perform just as well. I just don't have that, and I don't know a whole lot of people that would give me that consistently to perform the way I used to. Not that I'm looking. Because I'm definitely not. But back to the 9 months. At my 9-month point, I can schedule my surgeries. FFS is going to be my first one, and I need to turn in 3 doctors that take insurance. Well, not take insurance, but take the supplemental insurance that I have. Because it's going to be denied by my insurance, the supplemental is going to pick it up and pay for it. And so I've picked out 3 doctors. One I'm waiting to hear back, and that's Dr. Toby Meyer. I've heard a lot of good things about him. I like his results. I like the fact that he's board certified. But I am kind of waiting on that one. His results seem to be more of what I'm looking for, so he is the first one I would prefer to go to. The second one is Henry Chen, MD. He is double board certified, so he is more than qualified to do my FFS. Also, I enjoy his results as well. Not as much as Toby Myers, but very much similarly. It's a hair shy. And then Dr. Martirosian, also double board certified. And because of their qualifications, because of their reputation, because of their what people say about them, I guess, people rating them, I have decided, oh my goodness gracious, I done messed up my hair. This is the reason I have picked these top 3. They were recommended to me, and I looked into them, I did my research. It's kind of wild that, like, it's almost been 9 months. Next week will be 8 months. I'll have 4 weeks left. And then I can schedule it, but I have to turn my names in on the 6th of January, so that way my advocate can, I guess, coordinate my surgeries and get me on their books, I guess, so that whenever a year rolls around, I can have my FFS. I can go through my down period, go back to work, fully healed, and then I imagine I want to pay for my BBL. I have to, because my insurance isn't going to cover it, because they consider it mostly cosmetic, even though my hips and my butt cause a lot of my dysphoria. My dysphoria is mostly with my secondary sex characteristics, not my primary. And that's kind of goes back to the whole why I want SRS last, because I'm just not sure about it. I'm just not sure. It's something that's only going to be ever between me and my sexual partner. Literally and figuratively. I've called Toby Meyer, and because it's the holidays, I imagine they're all kind of like on a little leave period and not taking calls right now. I imagine whenever they get back to the office, they'll call me back. I do plan to call them back like every business day to kind of like, hopefully I get lucky and I get like just the receptionist. But the other 2, my wife also looked into with me, and I know she wouldn't steer me wrong, so I kind of like did a little bit of research into them as well. I was like, yep, I concur with your consensus. So I'm really excited about that. I'm so looking forward to it, because it's been such a long, wild ride, and my goal for my transition is to wake up, look in the mirror, and see Brianna without makeup or anything. I want to wake up and see that, and be able to get ready for the day and put on makeup if I'm not feeling feminine. That's what I really want. I'm not doing this to get into like a female space or anything. I imagine I'm probably going to be damned to male spaces for a long time, especially with the new administration. But I feel like that might give me a chance to spread the awareness that, like, this isn't right. Because if I can go into a male space and they can say that, like, yeah, you're not welcome here, go. I feel like I'm doing something right. I feel like if I can fail masculinely, I'm doing something right. Which shouldn't be hard to do. Especially for me. I think that's it for tonight, though. If you like my content, please like, comment, subscribe. Don't forget that if you want to see something in particular, or if you want me to cover a certain topic, to comment down below, and I will do my best to accommodate that. But this is Brianna Sinclair, signing off.